Archangel Michael has been fighting the same spirit your mother and grandmother couldn't defeat. That's why your life feels stuck. Now he's showing you how to break it. The wind in the unseen realm has been shifting lately. You've felt it. Those strange moments of exhaustion, unexplained setbacks, and the invisible weight on your shoulders every time you try to move forward. What you think is just bad luck or emotional burnout is, in truth, the residue of a battle that started long before you were born. Your lineage has carried a hidden burden, a generational spirit that refused to loosen its grip. Your mother knew it. Your grandmother endured it. And now, Archangel Michael is confronting it for your sake. His spirit didn't come in the form of flames or fury. It came as silence, as patterns that repeated with terrifying accuracy. Divorce after divorce. Dreams dying in the same decade. Joy swallowed before it fully bloomed. Your grandmother tried to pray through it, but her tools were limited by her time. Your mother tried to escape it, but the spirit followed her into every new chapter. Now you, the chosen one, are being called not just to survive it, but to break it. Archangel Michael has watched for generations. His sword was drawn long ago, but your bloodline never had the courage to let him finish the war. You were meant to be the one. You were born in a time where knowledge, awareness, and spiritual power are at their highest frequency. That's not a coincidence. You are heaven's selected warrior for this era. You didn't choose this fight, but this fight chose your DNA. And Michael has come again, not just to defend, but to deliver. This spirit's goal has always been the same: stagnation. It doesn't want to destroy you violently. It wants to hold you still. It wraps your thoughts in doubt, your calendar in delays, your energy in confusion. And just when you're about to break free, it uses your emotions to convince you that you're the problem. But Archangel Michael is roaring now, his presence cracking through the realms, and he's tired of watching you live in circles. The season for tolerating that spirit has ended. Michael says this is not just a moment, it's a line in the sand. Either you surrender to the cycle again, or you rise up and tear down every demonic altar that's been quietly ruling your family line. That altar may be built on fear, addiction, sabotage, or chronic poverty. But no matter what it's shaped like, the time has come to cast it down. Michael is fighting not beside you, but through you now. He is aligning every spiritual resource you need. But you must listen and act. Heaven does not waste energy on the indifferent. You were chosen because the fire in you never really died, no matter how smothered you felt. That fire is divine. That resistance you've always carried toward injustice, confusion, and toxic patterns, that's not rebellion. That's spiritual sensitivity. Your spirit has always known that something wasn't right. Michael is confirming now that your inner resistance wasn't in vain. You're not crazy. You're not lazy. You were under siege. The enemy didn't fear your mother's voice, nor your grandmother's prayers as much as it fears your awakening. Because once you understand the true cause of your suffering, the spirit's strategy begins to fall apart. Light always shatters illusion. Michael is here to drag the darkness into the open. You're about to understand why you felt tired since childhood, why every victory felt short-lived, and why you're still scared of your own success. The truth is, it wasn't your fault. And now Michael says, stop apologizing for your clarity. You see through people too fast for your own comfort. That's not paranoia. That's discernment. You hear things others don't. You feel things before they unfold. That's not emotional instability. That's spiritual radar. Your gifts were never meant to function in hiding. But the spirit that haunted your line, convinced you to dull your edge. And now, Michael is sharpening it again. Your perception will become your weapon. But understand this. Breaking the curse isn't romantic. This war, it will cost you the version of yourself that survived by shrinking. It will demand your full attention, your unwavering decision to reject what everyone else tolerates. You will feel lonely in moments. You will feel unsure. But Archangel Michael will never leave you unguarded. As long as you step forward, he will cover your back. And as you rise, your bloodline begins to heal in both directions. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. Every step you take forward now disrupts centuries of spiritual submission. Your blood carries echoes of women who settled for silence, of men who numbed their pain with distraction, of generations who believed suffering was normal. You are walking roads that were closed to them. When you speak, you are breaking covenants of silence. When you refuse to settle, you are defying spirits that believed they had you caged. Michael stands with you, not just to bless, but to burn away the curse. You may not realize this yet, but your very existence is a declaration of war. Heaven does not awaken warriors by accident. You've been sensing unrest lately because the spirit that bound your family knows its time is short. That restlessness isn't weakness. It's revelation. Your dreams have been showing fragments. Your relationships have fell off. Even the air around you feels different. That's because Michael has been stirring the atmosphere. He's unearthing what your ancestors buried. The spirit you are facing is ancient, but it is not eternal. It has authority only where there is ignorance. But you, child of light, are no longer ignorant. You now carry the blueprint for liberation. Michael has placed new language in your mouth, new strength in your spine, and new fire in your bones. What once whispered you're not enough now trembles at your confidence. What once delayed your calling now shakes at your clarity. The enemy never expected you to wake up. But now you must move with purpose. This season is sacred. This war is not one of chaos but of structure. Michael will teach you how to dismantle strongholds one layer at a time. You must break soul ties, renounce inner vows, destroy spiritual contracts you didn't sign but inherited. You must fast for clarity, pray for precision, and speak declarations that write your bloodline. This is not about temporary relief. This is permanent deliverance. Michael is mapping your victory step by step. Heaven is aligning divine helpers, people who carry pieces of the freedom you seek. You won't do this alone. But you must release the ones assigned to your past. Some connections must die so that you can live. Your grandmother held on to people out of duty. Your mother held on to people out of fear. You will hold on to purpose. Let go of what doesn't align. Michael will close doors you don't have the courage to. And when he does, thank him for protecting your destiny. Your financial struggle is not just economic. It's spiritual. That same spirit has manipulated time, sabotaged focus, and blocked provision through patterns of limitation. But no more. Michael has already dispatched a shift in the atmosphere around your work and wealth. You'll see money move again, but this time it will stay. You'll have vision, and this time it will grow. You'll be given ideas, and this time they will catch fire. Because the spirit of limitation is being cast out. You are not just fighting for yourself. Every breakthrough you receive will echo backward and forward through your bloodline. Your children will never know this bondage. Your nieces, nephews, students, community, they will walk in freedom because you chose to war in silence when no one clapped. This battle may not make headlines, but it will make history. Michael says, you are reversing what was rehearsed. The enemy counted on you repeating patterns. You're about to rewrite them. Your healing will begin in your dreams. Watch your sleep. The spirit has tried to manipulate your rest to keep you weak. But now angels are standing at the gates of your subconscious. You will dream prophetically. You will hear solutions in your sleep. You will feel peace again, not the fake kind you used to pretend, but deep, divine stillness. That's Michael's confirmation that the spirit's grip is weakening. Where fear once reigned, fire is now taking root. You'll begin to notice small, strange things. Your voice growing stronger, your posture shifting, even your face looking brighter. That is not your imagination. That's liberation becoming visible. The same way bondage was invisible but real, your freedom will now radiate in silence. People will ask what's changed. Don't even try to explain. Just smile. Just say, Michael came through. They won't understand the war you fought, but they'll witness the glow of a soul made whole. So now, listen closely. The next 72 hours are sacred. Set your intentions. Clear your space. Speak only what empowers. If anything feels draining or dark, walk away. Michael needs your spiritual atmosphere clean because he's releasing instructions, and only attuned in spirit will hear them. Do not be distracted. The enemy will try, but you have already crossed the line. You are now a spiritual disruptor. That spirit your mother couldn't beat is now begging for distance. Type I am blessed to get the blessing 3636. Archangel Michael has now positioned you at a crossroads, one your mother reached but turned away from. The path to your right is familiar. It feels safe because it looks like everything you've ever known. But that path ends in repetition. You are living trauma packaged as tradition. The path to your left, however, feels foreign and wild. That's the one Michael is urging you to take. It is the road of disruption, the road of freedom, the road where the spirit finally dies. You must understand this. Healing is not passive. Deliverance is not a warm bath. What you are undertaking now is a spiritual surgical operation. The spirit you are breaking thrives in comfort and silence. That is why discomfort has increased. It is the scream of darkness being evicted. Michael wants you to feel this shaking, not to fear it, but to recognize that chains are being broken in real time. Your discomfort is not punishment. It's divine proof of eviction. There's an urgency in the spirit realm now. Every time you speak the truth that your ancestors swallowed, a door is shattered. Every time you say no to what used to control you, the spirit loses power. You may feel isolated, but you are never alone. The angelic army has surrounded you like a fortress. Michael stands at the gate. His wings are stretched over your home. And though you can't see it, the war in the spirit has already tipped in your favor. But Michael wants you alert. He's whispering a warning. Do not return to what he rescued you from. The spirit will disguise itself as old comforts. An ex from your past may suddenly reach out. A toxic opportunity may appear dressed as a blessing. You'll feel tempted to second-guess your progress. That's the old spirit begging for one last breath. You not give it what it wants. You're not just closing a door. You're sealing it with fire. This fire isn't just symbolic. Michael is unleashing a refining fire upon your atmosphere. Things you once tolerated will now irritate you. Conversations will shift. You'll crave solitude, silence, and truth. That's the purification. You're shedding decades of inherited heaviness. What felt normal before will now feel unbearable. That's because it was never meant to stay. And the moment you feel like quitting is the moment Michael's sword strikes deepest. The spirit you're confronting worked in shadows. It never wanted to be named. That's why confusion was its strongest weapon. But Michael is now unveiling the mask. For some, it was a spirit of sabotage. For others, shame. For many, it was deep-rooted rejection disguised as ambition. Whatever form it took, you now see it clearly. And once something is named, it can be cast out. Say its name. Call it what it is. And declare its power broken. Your voice is your greatest weapon now. Speak against what once silenced you. Declare freedom out loud. Say, this ends with me. Say, my bloodline is clean. Say, the fire in me cannot be extinguished. Every time you speak, the heavens echo. Michael stands ready to amplify your words, to charge your declarations with divine electricity. Your voice is not just noise, it is prophecy. And now, heaven is waiting for you to use it without apology. Your story is no longer about survival. It is about reversal. Where pain ruled, purpose now rises. Where cycles spun endlessly, order now emerges. Where confusion clouded your way, clarity has descended like lightning. You are no longer lost. You are being led. Archangel Michael is not offering you a shortcut. He's giving you a strategy. And this strategy will outlast the storm. You're not just escaping darkness. You are being trained to destroy it wherever it hides. But understand, the enemy will launch one final ambush before it flees. It will use exhaustion. It will use guilt. It will whisper that you're overreacting, that you're imagining it all, that you should stay quiet, stay small, stay normal. But Michael says, rebuke that lie with fire. You are not who you were. You've been activated. You've been sharpened. You've been awakened. And now, your feet are moving toward a future that your mother never had the strength to dream. You are the culmination of decades of spiritual yearning. The answers your grandmother cried out for are now being given to you. The protection your mother wished she had is now covering you. The curse they couldn't name, you are now defeating. This is generational healing in action. And because you said yes, the future hath been rewritten. Michael is rejoicing. Heaven is thundering. The chains are breaking, not later, not someday, but now. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. The moment you declared that it ends with you, the spirit began to panic. What held power for generations is now disarmed by your decision to walk in divine alignment. Archangel Michael stands over the battlefield of your bloodline with his sword drawn, not in hesitation, but in triumph. He has waited for this moment, for you. Not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. And in heaven, willingness holds more power than worthiness ever could. You may feel the aftershock of this spiritual collision. Headaches, tension, unusual silence. All of this is residue from what's leaving. Michael wants you to know, do not interpret disruption as defeat. When strongholds fall, they make noise. When demonic assignments are canceled, they echo through the dimensions. You are feeling the spiritual dust settle. This is not regression. This is confirmation that the enemy has been forcefully evicted from your atmosphere. The patterns that once seemed inevitable will now begin to feel foreign. You'll wake up and not dread the day. You'll speak without second guessing. You'll walk into rooms and no longer shrink. This is your inner world coming into divine order. The spirit that used to whisper, "Stay small," has lost its grip. And though you still hear faint echoes of old thoughts, they no longer command you. That's not your voice. That's the ghost of bondage trying to remain relevant. Michael instructs you now to reclaim your space, physically and spiritually. Clean your room. Organize your thoughts. Anoint your doorposts. Purge the things connected to pain. Your surroundings must reflect the war that's been won. Do not leave remnants of the spirit in your home. Burn old letters. Delete toxic numbers. Break hidden agreements. Michael cannot dwell where unholy things are entertained. Create a place that hosts angels, not memories of past torment. This is the time to establish new declarations. Your bloodline has heard enough of. It runs in the family. Now it's time to say it stops here. No more cycles of abandonment. No more curses of confusion. And no more false identities passed down as tradition. Michael says you are not an echo, you are a new sound. And from this moment forward, every word you speak must align with your deliverance, not your delay. Speak life, and it will obey. You've likely noticed a heaviness lifting off your chest lately. It wasn't just emotional. It was spiritual suffocation breaking. The enemy sat on your lungs for years, keeping your prayers short and your praise shallow. But now, your breath returns, and with it, your authority. You will prophesy in your home. You will sing with power again. You will command the air to shift, and it will obey because Archangel Michael has cleared the path for your voice to matter. There is one final door Michael is asking you to close, the door of self-blame. That spirit made you believe everything was your fault. It whispered guilt until it became your second skin. It made you apologize for your light, your truth, your hunger for more. But the truth is none of it was your fault. You were born into a war you didn't start, but you are chosen to end it. Let go of shame. Lay it down, and never pick it back up. Your posture will now change. You'll walk differently. Not in arrogance, but in assurance. You will no longer beg for room. You will take up your rightful space. This is not confidence birthed from ego. It is the dignity of someone who knows they are heaven-backed. Michael has crowned you in the spirit. And when you walk, demons recognize it. Don't be surprised if people start reacting strangely to your presence. It's not you. It's the light disturbing what they've hidden. You'll be called to revisit old places, but not to relive the pain, only to reclaim them. That school, that house, that place of heartbreak, they no longer hold dominion over you. Michael will guide your feet into those territories so you can spiritually repossess what trauma once stole. Where you wept, you will now declare. Where you feared, you will now sing. And in those spaces, the spirit will have no place left to hide. Your presence will cleanse what pain polluted. The ones who doubted your journey will soon witness the evidence of your obedience. Not because you need validation, but because heaven's work always leaves a visible imprint. You won't have to argue your freedom. You'll embody it. Your radiance will preach louder than your words. The very places you were once mocked, you will now be marveled at. And they'll say, something changed in them. And you'll whisper to yourself, Michael fought for me, and I won. Type I am blessed to get the blessing 3636. Archangel Michael now instructs you to prepare for the rewards that follow obedience. This is the season where the suffering will start to make sense. What you endured was not random. It was the breaking of the curse. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, as the weight lifts from your shoulders, heaven is beginning to release what was withheld until the Spirit's grip was broken. Restoration is here, but you must recognize it when it comes. You will notice divine compensation, not just in finances or fame, but in alignment. The right people, the right doors, the right moments will flow to you as if heaven choreographed it. And that's because it did. Michael has been negotiating in the spirit realm for you. Every delay you hated, every detour you questioned, it was all strategic. The spirit you broke tried to sabotage timing. But now that it's gone, God's original timeline for your life is snapping back into place. This restoration will feel surreal at first. You'll feel like you don't deserve it. That's the echo of the old curse. Hikov. You do not have to earn what heaven already assigned to you. Michael reminds you, this is not a reward for perfection. It is the harvest of obedience. You stayed when others ran. You fought when others folded. You broke cycles when others repeated them. And for that, heaven says, well done. Now, get ready to receive. But stay vigilant. Restoration attracts imitation. The enemy may send counterfeits to derail your growth. Old habits dressed in new distractions. Opportunities that look golden but are hollow inside. Michael warns, test everything in this season. Not all good things are good things. You must move by discernment, not desperation. If it requires you to shrink, lie, compromise, or return to who you used to be, it's not for you. Protect your promise with the same fire you fought with. Your dreams will now expand. Where you once feared asking for too much, now you'll understand that heaven never runs out. This is the time to pray boldly. Speak what you truly desire. Michael is aligning things behind the scenes that your bloodline never had the courage to ask for. Lands your ancestors worked on, you will own. Positions they were denied, you will hold. Stories they never finished, you will complete. Your ceiling has become your floor. Relationships will shift too. The people who truly carry light will be magnetized to you. To allies, kingdom builders, intercessor. You'll no longer feel like the spiritual black sheep. You'll realize you were never alone, just early. Michael is gathering the remnant. And when you unite with those who carry the same fire, the chains will not just break, they will disintegrate. This is not a time to isolate. It's time to build with the blessed. Your family may not understand your transformation yet. Some may still speak from a place of bondage. Do not let their confusion become your conflict. Love them, but do not mimic them. You were not called to be their reflection. You were called to be their redemption. You are the interruption in their story. And while they may resist it now, one day they'll look back and say, your change saved us. Be patient. Michael is still working on them. Now comes the refining of your identity. You are not who you were. Your prayers have grown louder. Your spiritual ears sharper. Your authority stronger. You'll no longer tolerate what dishonors your destiny. People may accuse you of changing, but that's exactly the point. You have changed. Heaven doesn't call people to remain the same. Michael is now carving a new identity into your spirit, one that reflects royalty, not survival. This change won't be surface deep. You'll feel it in how you walk, how you speak, how you set boundaries. You'll no longer justify dysfunction. The spirit that once manipulated your compassion into compliance has no more access to your mind. You can be kind and firm, loving and unshakable, You don't have to bend to be accepted anymore. Michael says, stand tall, for the oil on your life now demands it. And with this oil comes visibility. You won't be able to hide much longer. Michael is elevating your voice, your story, your purpose, not for your glory, but for the healing of many. What nearly destroyed you will now deliver others. What shamed you will now be your sermon. You are becoming the breakthrough your ancestors prayed for. Their cries didn't go unheard. Heaven simply waited for you to rise. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. Your elevation is not without purpose. Archangel Michael makes it clear. This breakthrough isn't just about your freedom. It's about generations forward. You are the blueprint now. You are the deliverance strategy wrapped in flesh. Where others saw you as different, heaven saw you as divine. That voice that cracked from crying will now carry healing. That heart that was shattered from betrayal now beats with discernment. You are a testimony not just of survival, but of divine reversal. The battles you faced in secret will become fuel for others who are silently bleeding. Michael says your scars will preach louder than any sermon. Do not be ashamed of what tried to destroy you. That attack is the proof of your assignment. If the spirit didn't fear you, it would have ignored you. But it couldn't. It sensed what you didn't know yet, that the oil on your life would awaken others, that you were the one who would break what they bound to. And now, you must walk in legacy. This isn't about being famous. It's about being faithful. Your obedience is echoing. In realms you cannot see, angels are building what your yes just authorized. Every time you rejected dysfunction, heaven recorded it. Every time you chose growth over comfort, chains snapped somewhere else in your lineage. Michael wants you to know, your healing is not personal. It's prophetic. You've altered spiritual DNA with every brave decision. The spirit that controlled your mother and grandmother ruled through silence. That's why your voice has been so heavily attacked. Your doubts, your tongue-tied moments, your sudden anxiety before speaking, it was all warfare. Not because your words were weak, but because they carried fire. Now that fire is awakening, you'll notice it when you speak truth and atmospheres shift. That's not imagination. That's anointing. You are no longer afraid of your own sound. Michael reminds you, the spirit is defeated, but it will test your resolve. In moments of tiredness, it will try to sneak back in. It will use voices of the past, familiar thoughts, old triggers. When that happens, do not panic. Stand. Declare. Rebuke. You're not the same anymore. You don't need to run. You need to command. Speak like someone backed by angels. Declare, not here. Not again. And the spirit will flee because it knows Michael now fights through you. You will experience divine restoration in areas you thought were beyond repair. Estranged relationships may find sudden peace. Financial droughts will shift without warning. Projects that once failed will now prosper. This is the grace of reversal. The spirit kept you in survival mode, always hustling, always anxious. But Michael says you are now stepping into divine ease. You will no longer beg for what is already yours. You will walk in favor and it will follow you. But remember this truth, peace must be protected. Guard your space like it is sacred, because it is. This is not paranoia, it's stewardship. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot fly while chained to people who fear your freedom. Release the guilt of outgrowing others. It is not betrayal, it is obedience. Michael will remove whoever must leave. You don't need to explain. Just keep walking. Peace is your new default. Your home must now reflect heaven's presence. Clean not just the floors, but the atmosphere. Lay worship. The big river. Rebuke darkness out loud. Declare your home a sanctuary. The spirit that visited your family must never find rest there again. Michael says, your home will become a gate of glory. People will walk in and feel peace without knowing why. It's your authority transforming physical space into sacred ground. You will find yourself crying for no reason, and that's okay. That's your soul releasing what your mouth never said. Years of unspoken trauma are now evaporating. Michael is present for every tear. Each one is a release. You are not weak. You are shedding what was never yours to carry. And in those quiet moments, Michael will whisper instructions, peace, and healing you didn't even know you needed. Do not resist it. Let yourself be made new. This is just the beginning of your restoration. You've broken what bound generations. You've overcome what others couldn't name. You've walked through fire and emerged refined. Now your story becomes a sword. Your freedom becomes a fragrance. And your obedience becomes the foundation on which generations will stand. Michael rejoices. Heaven celebrates. And the enemy has nothing left to use against you. Type I am blessed to get the blessing 3636. Archangel Michael now speaks clearly. You've become the curse breaker. The chains that rattled through your bloodline have snapped beneath your steps. Where once there was silence, there is now the sound of authority. You didn't just survive what your mother endured. You uprooted the spirit that whispered in her ears, twisted her thoughts, and tormented her sleep. That same force that dimmed your grandmother's fire has been cast out by the blaze you chose to keep burning. But now comes the holy responsibility of maintenance. Freedom is not just gained, it must be guarded. The spirit that ruled your family line may be broken, but its memory lingers in habits, language, and familiar emotions. Be vigilant. Michael says you must now disciple your emotions and train your responses. Don't trust what feels comfortable if it was birthed in bondage. Comfort is not always confirmation. Sometimes, it's the echo of captivity calling you back. Your mind will become a battlefield in this next season, not of torment, but of transition. You will begin to think differently. Old fears will try to make a case for why you should shrink again. But Michael has rewired your spirit to reject those lies. When anxiety rises, answer it with identity. When doubt returns, remind it who you are. Your name is not wounded. Your name is warrior. You are no longer chasing healing. You are walking in it daily. There will be moments of solitude, not as punishment but for recalibration. Michael will lead you into seasons where you are hidden, not because you've been forgotten, but because he's building you in silence. This is where weapons are sharpened. This is where vision becomes clear. Embrace these sacred pauses. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Heaven often does its loudest work in your quietest hours. You'll begin to notice that your very presence triggers the atmosphere. People will confess things to you without knowing why. Children will be drawn to your spirit. Strangers will look at you and feel something shift. That is not chance. That is residue of your deliverance. You carry breakthrough now, not in what you say, but in who you are. Michael has branded your life with the fire of freedom. You are a living altar. Some will misunderstand your confidence. They'll call it pride. Let them. They didn't survive what you did. They didn't bleed through what you healed. Your confidence is not built on applause. It is built on ashes. You are not arrogant. You are anointed. Michael says, never explained to those who only saw the fall but never stayed for the resurrection. They don't need to believe in you for heaven to keep elevating you. There's a special promise attached to your bloodline now. Because you said yes, the next generation will walk lighter. The girls in your family will not repeat the trauma of their mothers. The boys will not inherit confusion about who they are. Marriages will be stronger. Purpose will be clearer. The curse is not just broken, it's been replaced with a divine covenant. Your last name is no longer marked by pain. It is now sealed with promise. Even your body will begin to respond to this transformation. Eggs will vanish. Fatigue will live. Energy will return. That's not coincidence, it's deliverance manifesting in your flesh. The spirit that drained your physical strength fed on your mental and emotional exhaustion. But now that it's gone, your cells are celebrating. Your body is being restored at the cellular level. Michael is overseeing even the smallest repair. This is your divine inheritance. Not just peace, but sustained peace. Not just breakthrough, but generational breakthrough. You did not just interrupt a pattern. You shattered a demonic stronghold. What tried to kill you was never strong enough. What tried to follow you couldn't match your fire. Archangel Michael says, you were always the answer. You just had to remember who you were. Type I'm rising to get blessing 5678. Now that the curse is broken and the covenant has been activated, Archangel Michael instructs you to speak with authority over time. The spirit that ruled your family was a manipulator of seasons. It caused delay, stagnation, and repetitive loss. But that time thief has been exiled. Now, time will serve you. Doors that once took years to open will now swing wide without resistance. This is the hour of divine acceleration. You will redeem time lost to suffering. Heaven is collapsing years into months, months into moments. What your grandmother waited decades for, you will see within days. Not because you're lucky, but because you're positioned. That positioning came through pain, but now it produces purpose. Michael has cleared the road. Your only task is to walk it without fear. What once took betting will now require only believing. Do not question it. You've already paid the price through the war you just won. As time accelerates, you'll notice that your gifts intensify. Dreams will become clearer. Warnings will come faster. Strategies will arrive in stillness. This is the reward of spiritual maturity. Heaven trusts you now with secrets. Guard what God gives you. Do not leak what was meant to incubate. Michael says your next level will demand discretion. Everything you sense is not for sharing. Some victories must stay sacred until heaven releases the fullness of their purpose. You will start to hear things before they happen. Words in your spirit, impressions in your gut. That is not paranoia. That is prophetic activation. What once felt like anxiety will now be recognized as divine intel. The spirit that once twisted your discernment has been silenced. You no longer second-guess yourself. You don't need 10 confirmations. When Michael speaks, your spirit will recognize it, and you will act. Hesitation is no longer your identity. Old temptations may try to dress themselves in new disguises. The spirit may try to access your life through different voices, people you trust, places you're comfortable in. Be wise. Not every open door is divine. Michael will give you a check in your spirit. When you feel it, honor it, even if you can't explain it. Obedience in the season is more important than validation. You're not called to explain. You're called to exit whatever doesn't serve the new covenant. The people who once overlooked you will begin to ask for your wisdom. Don't become bitter. Teach with grace. Your humility in this moment will be the final dagger to the spirit that tried to make you feel invisible. You were never unseen. You were being hidden for a holy reason. Now that you've emerged, speak with compassion, not condemnation. You are the example they never expected, and that unexpectedness is part of your spiritual weaponry. Michael says your finances are now under divine order. That spirit of just enough hath been overthrown. You are stepping into abundance, not greed, but overflow. Because you are a channel now. What flows to you will flow through you. Unexpected provision. Seed will come before need. But you must steward it with kingdom principles. No more lack mindset. And no more scarcity language. You are not a beggar. You are a builder of legacy. Relationships will now align with your elevation. Divine connections are being released. Those who understand your spirit without you needing to explain. These are covenant people, not convenience people. When they come, you'll know. There will be no striving, no forcing. They'll carry oil, not opinions. And together, your assignment will accelerate. Do not cling to those who cannot grow with you. You've outgrown survival. It's time to grow in strategy. This is your preparation for multiplication. What started as personal deliverance will soon become public transformation. Michael is preparing platforms you didn't apply for, opportunities you didn't chase, and favor you didn't manufacture. Why? Because obedience opens doors performance never could. You're not being elevated for applause. You're being sent as a solution. When you arrive, atmospheres will shift, because heaven has endorsed you. And in this moment, remember, this is not the end of your journey, it is the birthing of your legacy. You will wake up different, walk different, speak different, because you are different. You were reshaped in fire, reformed in obedience, and released in power. Archangel Michael stands beside you, not because you're weak, but because you are now too powerful to walk alone. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. Type I am blessed to get the blessing 3636. Now that heaven has aligned your timeline and loosed your identity from generational captivity, Archangel Michael directs your focus towards sustaining the atmosphere you've been delivered into. Breakthrough without maintenance becomes bondage revisited. This is not just a victory, it is a responsibility. The enemy cannot undo what has been broken, but it will attempt to sneak back in through familiarity, fatigue, and fragmented boundaries. Your spiritual borders must now be fortified with intentional discipline. Michael says, you are no longer allowed to live as if you are still fighting for freedom. You are now walking in it. So speak like someone who is free. Organize your day like someone who is free. Show up to every room, every task, every conversation like someone heaven has crowned. You're not waiting for permission. You've already been commissioned. And if any part of your life still operates like bondage, it must now be dismantled by your own authority. It's time to reintroduce yourself to yourself. The version of you that walked through the valley is not the same person now emerging into purpose. Stop reacting out of the old identity. Stop shrinking out of habit. Stop speaking as if defeat is still a possibility. The spirit that ruled your family lived through emotional repetition, shame cycles, victim language, self-sabotage. But you've been made new. Now let your thoughts, your habits, your posture rise to match that newness. Michael warns you, your memory must not become your master. You can remember what you survived, but you are not obligated to carry its weight. Do not treat past trauma as a blueprint for future living. The curse was broken, but you must now walk out that healing daily. The enemy cannot create, only imitate, so it will try to present fear as foresight, pain as protection. Reject that. Move forward without needing proof that you'll be safe. Heaven is already ahead of you. And yes, you'll feel the temptation to return to what feels easy. You'll miss people who no longer match your calling. You'll crave old habits during hard days. But now, you carry the strength to override it. What your mother could not resist, you now command. What your grandmother couldn't voice, you now decree. Michael has transferred the authority of generations into your hands, and your hands are now weapons of rebuilding, not wounding. New instructions will soon come, downloaded straight from the throne. You'll be sitting, driving, praying, and suddenly the vision will arrive. Write it down. Obey quickly. Do not ask if you are ready. Michael says, you were ready the moment you survived what should have ended you. These visions will become blueprints for businesses, books, ministries, ideas, and movements. You are a vessel now. The instructions may be larger than your experience, but not larger than your anointing. Expect opposition, but do not fear it. Opposition is often just the enemy's confirmation that you are in position. You'll feel resistance when you hit the right vein in the spirit. But now, you have tools. Praise is your weapon. Worship is your fire. Stillness is your strategy. Michael has assigned reinforcement angels to flank your journey. You will not fight this next level alone. Heaven has your coordinates. Reinforcements are already dispatched. And now comes the anointing of multiplication. Where there was once barrenness of ideas, resources, relationships, there will now be overflow. You are not just healed. You are fertile with purpose. The prayers of those before you are now being answered through you. Your voice will be heard in rooms you never entered. Your obedience will ripple across bloodlines you've never met. You are the walking fulfillment of a covenant long waited. Do not fear success. For generations, your family has associated growth with pain. Every time someone rose, they fell. Every time joy arrived, sorrow followed. That was the Spirit's design. Sabotage at the edge of breakthrough. But now that it's broken, you must expect joy and keep it. You must accept elevation and sustain it. You are no longer in survival mode. You are in legacy mode. Michael says, you are not rising alone. You are carrying a nation within you. This is why the fire was necessary. The testing, the stripping, the waiting. Heaven wasn't punishing you. It was preparing you for permanence. Temporary people and temporary pattern had to be removed. Because what is coming cannot be built on shaky ground. You are the new foundation. You are the restored root. From you, heaven will grow something that will not collapse with time, but flourish through it. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. Now that you have stepped into legacy mode, Archangel Michael is revealing a deeper layer of your calling to govern atmospheres. You're no longer just breaking personal curses or family patterns. Now, you're walking as a spiritual gatekeeper. This means wherever you go, the climate must shift. When you speak, The room must bend to divine order. You don't just enter environments, you rewire them. That's the power of someone who's defeated what used to dominate them. Michael says, you are an atmosphere disruptor. A spirit that once controlled your bloodline operated in hiddenness, in unspoken pain, in quiet dysfunction. But your presence now exposes what used to thrive in the dark. You'll notice tension arise around you, not because you are wrong, but because you carry what is right. Your clarity will confront confusion. Your peace will disturb chaos. Don't take it personally. That's your anointing doing its job. This level of authority will attract spiritual attention. The enemy doesn't waste energy on those still asleep. It targets the awakened. So when your progress triggers warfare, don't retreat. That's confirmation. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're under pressure because you've become a portal. Through you, heaven is touching the earth. Through you, cycles are ending. Through you, forgotten prayers are being answered. You are not just a witness. You are the strategy. Michael now commands you to lead in your wholeness. The days of hiding behind humility are over. False modesty is not protection. It is self-rejection. You are allowed to be whole. You are allowed to be powerful. You are allowed to walk in fullness without guilt. Your ancestors were not free enough to wear their greatness. But you are. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. The same alignment the enemy tried to keep you too broken to discover. Heaven is watching your stewardship now. This next level won't be about tests, it will be about trust. Can you be trusted with influence without ego? Can you be trusted with favor without forgetting the fire? Can you lead others without reliving your own pain through them? Michael will give you people to mentor, atmospheres to protect, and systems to reform. You've moved from deliverance into dominion. The war is over. Now comes the rain. And with this rain comes weight. The weight of wisdom. The weight of discernment. The weight of walking slow enough to hear God but fast enough to obey Him. You'll be tempted to rush. Don't. Legacy is not hurried. Michael says, pace with heaven, not with culture. The spirit you broke moved in chaos. Your healing will move in cadence. You don't need to compete. You carry what cannot be copied. Old doors may reopen, not to tempt you, but to test your loyalty to the new. You'll walk by former temptations and feel nothing. That's healing. You'll see old conversations and stay silent. That's growth. You'll be invited into old roles and decline them. It's power. Michael says, your no is now your sword. Wield it well. You don't have to fight everything. Some victories will come simply by refusing to return. You'll start to attract kingdom assignments. Not just platforms, but purposes. Not just followers, but movements. Not just influence, but impact. Michael is leading key people to your name. Those who carry oil, fire, and vision. You'll know them by their spirit, not their status. Together, you'll birth what heaven withheld for a generation too bound to build. You are now the generation that builds without bleeding. And as you rise, remember this. You are not replacing your ancestors, you are redeeming their story. You are not erasing what they endured. You are fulfilling what they began. Their prayers became your path. Their survival became your foundation. Your silence became your roar. And now, you walk in a freedom they did get to taste, but you carry it for them, and because of them. Type I am blessed to get the blessing 3636. Now that you've stepped into the fullness of your spiritual assignment, Archangel Michael begins to align you with divine territory. You are no longer limited by what you see around you. Heaven has expanded your influence in the spirit realm. What your grandmother was confined by, geography, status, access, you now overcome through favor. Michael declares, your territory is no longer defined by location, but by assignment. Wherever you walk, you take ground. The spirit that ruled your bloodline was territorial, always seeking to limit. It used fear to keep your family local, your vision small, your courage suppressed. But that confinement has collapsed. You are not bound to repeat their fear. You are free to build beyond what they imagined. You'll begin to feel this pull toward nations, toward platforms, toward industries that seem unreachable. Don't resist it. Heaven doesn't expand your reach unless it has expanded your capacity. You'll feel a divine boldness rise in you, unfamiliar but undeniably yours. That's heaven's signature, courage without chaos. You'll speak when needed, but only with purpose. You'll build what no blueprint exists for. You'll lead in wombs where your resume doesn't qualify you. And still, you'll have access. Why? Because you broke the spirit that once demanded approval to move forward. Now, heaven grants you permission by presence. And with this expanded territory comes holy influence. This is not about popularity, it's about power. People will begin to quote you, follow you, seek your insight. But Michael warns, stay consecrated. The spirit that once deceived your bloodline did so through the idol of attention. You must not worship influence. You are a vessel, not a brand. You carry a mantle, not a mask. Let everything that flows through you return glory to the throne that freed you. Michael also reveals that new spiritual gifts will be activated in this season. Gifts that were dormant while the curse was alive are now awakening. You'll speak and people will be healed. You'll intercede and atmospheres will shift. You'll dream and see accurate warnings. You'll declare and storms will pause. This is not exaggeration. This is the reward of obedience and generational deliverance. Heaven can now trust you with the supernatural. But as these gifts grow, your silence will become more powerful than your words. Michael says, silence will become your sword. Every moment doesn't need your reaction. Every insult doesn't need your defense. Your restraint will terrify the spirit realm more than retaliation ever could. Walk with dignity. Let your stillness speak. Heaven is your advocate now, and the courtroom of angels always rules in favor of obedience. Do not be surprised when people from your past seek reconciliation. Some are genuine. Others are agents of confusion. Discern carefully. You are not obligated to entertain familiar spirits just because they wear familiar faces. Forgive quickly, but access is not restoration. Michael reminds you, peace is a gift. Do not waste it on counterfeit repentance. Not everyone deserves a seat at your healed table. And now, watch for signs in nature. Heaven is speaking through creation again. Rain is after warfare. Birds circling in moments of clarity. A sudden stillness in your atmosphere. These are confirmations from heaven. The spirit that once clouded your vision can no longer block the signs. You will begin to hear God in the wind, feel Him in sunlight, recognize Him in timing. Your senses are being sanctified for this next dimension. Your finances, your relationships, your mind, and your mission are all coming into synchronized alignment. It will feel surreal, but do not sabotage it by questioning its validity. You are not waiting for peace anymore. You are walking in prophetic fulfillment. You are not hoping to arrive. You have arrived, and now you are being released. The healing was the preparation. The obedience was the key. The breakthrough is now the foundation. And this, Michael says, is the reward of a curse breaker who never gave up. This is the territory of someone who outlived the storm. This is the fruit of someone who turned silence into sound, pain into prophecy, and bondage into breakthrough. You are no longer breaking things. Now, you are building things. And what you build will bless more than your name. It will redeem your entire line. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. Archangel Michael now bows his sword, not in surrender, but in completion. The war that once surrounded your soul has been won. The spirit that harassed your mother and stalked your grandmother has been utterly overthrown. No longer will you walk carrying what wasn't yours. No longer will you dream through the veil of bondage. This is your confirmation. You are free. Not in theory, not in hope, but in reality. Heaven has stamped your story with victory. You were not chosen because you were the strongest. You were chosen because you were willing. You kept showing up when no one noticed. You kept praying when no one responded. You kept resisting cycles even when your heart was breaking. And now Michael says, you have earned heaven's honor. The bloodline shifts because you stood. The atmosphere is purified because you didn't break. You said yes to a battle your ancestors couldn't name, and now they rejoice over your victory. From this day forward, you carry the mantle of a finisher. What started generations ago through silent suffering ends with you. What was whispered in fear will now be proclaimed in power. The shame that was passed like inheritance dies with your decision to rise. And what lives in its place is purpose undiluted, unshaken, and undeniable. The curse is not just broken. The new covenant is now written in your name. Walk boldly, love freely, lead without apology. This is not the season to question what's been declared. Heaven doesn't make careless announcements. When Michael speaks, chains fall. And he has spoken over you. It is finished. Your name is clean. Your future is sealed. Your story is holy. The spirit that kept your family captive no longer has jurisdiction. And the fire that tried to consume you, it refined you instead. So rise, not in fear, but in fullness. You were always meant to carry light. You were always meant to end what others couldn't. And now, you carry the proof. Archangel Michael is no longer just fighting for you. He walks beside you in glory. You're not just delivered. You're commissioned. Go build what only the free can build. Go speak what only the healed can say. Go live as only the curse breaker can. If this word has confirmed your spirit and awakened your boldness, consider supporting with a super thanks of $20. Your support allows us to keep releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength for others walking through betrayal into blessing. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating via PayPal using the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance tailor-made for your breakthrough. I am free to get blessing 9999.